Tank Davis, Lamont Roach. I think we need to start with that one.
Yeah.
What transpired in that fight was astounding, because you have to remember Tank Davis was a 16-1 favorite going into this fight. Lamont Roach, while a WBA champion, was moving up from 130 pounds, and no one thought he had a chance. And the general demeanor of Tank Davis going into this fight was like, hey man, I'm kind of done with this. I got 3 fights left. I'm going to be done by the end of 2025. I don't really like this sport anymore. Kids, don't do this. Go into soccer. This ain't for you.
There's Davis, lands a left. Oh, nice double left hook by Roach to the body and then to the head. Right in by Roach. So good success here for Roach in round 7. Davis. Oh, there's a right hook to the body by Davis. Ripping.
Ariel Helwani is the latest boxing expert to criticize Gervonta "Tank" Davis. The Baltimore fighter faced embarrassment from the boxing community after his fight with Lamont Roach. Helwani spoke with Aid Oladipo and shared his honest thoughts on the situation. While he acknowledged the record-breaking numbers from the first fight, he believes the rematch will be PBC's biggest event of the year. Many fans now want Davis to lose, and the boxing world is eager to see how he handles the pressure. Helwani also pointed out that the draw hurt Davis's career, considering the circumstances surrounding it. He suggested that Tank isn't widely liked, and this result only made things worse for him.
And it just was sort of like he was apathetic. Before the fight, he talked about, I'll call someone out and this, that, and the other. Like, it all kind of felt like an afterthought. And then the fight happens, and truth be told, like, the fight wasn't the best fight of all time. It was fine. It wasn't your vintage Tank Davis fight. There wasn't a knockout. There wasn't a knockdown scored by him. It was just sort of fine.
From Roach! And there's a left uppercut that lands for Roach. Davis digs to the body. Oh, and that right, but Davis took off some of the steam of the punch, but still, Roach leaning with right.
He took a knee.
He took a knee.
You take a knee like that, that looks like a knockdown. All right? That's up.
That's a generous call from
Did he not take a knee?
Take the mouthpiece, took him out.
And that's right.
Oh, here comes.
Ariel Helwani joined the many boxing fans who believe Gervonta Davis was lucky to escape with a draw. His performance was messy, and Helwani pointed out that this was an example of boxing favoring the A-side fighter, something the sport must fix if it wants to keep its reputation as fair. Lamont Roach Jr. seemed to be on his way to a historic victory, but everything changed in the 9th round. In a shocking moment, Davis took a knee and rushed to his corner. Technically, this should have been ruled a knockdown, but it wasn't. Davis also wasn't penalized for it. In the end, the fight ended in a controversial draw, allowing Davis to keep his title. While he gave his own explanation, many people still have doubts. Boxing journalist Chris Mannix spoke with 3 senior referees about the fight, and they all agreed the knee should have been counted as a knockdown. One even said that Davis should have been disqualified for leaving the action just to get his face wiped.
If that was your first time watching Tank, you're probably like, okay, yeah, sort of, I get it. But it kind of speaks to his demeanor going into the fight. Like, it just felt a little bit underwhelming. And then we get to the 9th round, and then it's complete madness, because in the 9th round, you probably have heard by now, the fight is moving along, and it is important to note that Lamont Roach lands a jab or two, and where we want to start the clock.
The moment Tank's cornerman touched him, the referee should have disqualified him immediately, said a boxing insider. In a detailed critique, he also questioned referee Steve Willis's handling of the fight. According to Glazer, if the knockdown had been correctly counted, Lamont Roach Jr. should have won, either by disqualification in round 9 or by majority decision. Roach should have won that fight, either by DQ in round 9 or with a knockdown counted, he emphasized.
Cards. Judge at the ringside, Eric Marlinsky scores it on 115 to 113 in favor of Gervonta Davis. Judges Steve Weisfeld and Glenn Feldman both scored about 114 to 114, even a draw. The decision is a majority draw.
The 9th round was a reflection of Gervonta Davis's life in some ways, said Keith Idek on the Ariel Helwani show. He pointed out Davis's tendency to break the rules or act outside the norm without facing consequences. Idek argued that Davis often bends the rules in the ring, like when he took an unsanctioned timeout in the 9th round, even though boxing doesn't allow timeouts, and still got away with it. He compared this to a past incident during Davis's fight against Hector Luis Garcia, where a brawl in the crowd distracted him, and he seemingly took another unofficial break. Davis does what he wants and usually avoids punishment, Idek said. He also mentioned how Davis arrived hours late to a press conference a few months ago. Now, reports suggest the fight is under review, and there's a chance the result could be overturned.
Is up to, debate, but he certainly lands a punch. And then seconds after that punch lands, that jab lands, all of a sudden Tank Davis takes a knee. He quickly takes a knee, and there it is right there. 9th round, 217. He is taking a knee, and he's looking to his corner. And he also, ever so briefly, it appears as though he's almost trying to call time.
The 29-year-old from Washington, D.C., challenged Gervonta Tank Davis for his WBA lightweight title on March 1st, delivering the best performance of his career against a 3-division world champion in New York. After 12 action-packed rounds, the fight ended in a split decision draw. However, things might have turned out differently because of what happened in the 9th round. Davis unexpectedly took a knee after getting hit with a jab from Roach, but referee Steve Willis chose not to call it a knockdown. This controversial moment has sparked debate in the boxing world, with many fans and analysts questioning the decision. Some believe Roach should have been declared the winner. Speaking on the Come and Talk to Me podcast, Roach revealed that he tried to call Davis after the fight, following a bet the two had reportedly made before the match.
In case you don't know, in boxing, you take a knee, that's considered a knockdown. You cannot call time, and you know what you also can't do? You also can't go to your corner mid-round and ask them to wipe your face. Ask them to do anything. You can't get a swig of water. You can't do this. You cannot do that. But that all happened. And so the referee for this fight is a legendary referee. Steve Willis, you have probably seen him in GIFs.
Look, man, I'm going to be real with you. I called his phone, but he must have changed his number or something. I didn't get any response. Maybe he's just doing his thing right now. I called him, then I DM'd him and told him, I called you. Call me back. I didn't even mention the money. I just wanted him to call me back, Roach said. A rematch between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach now seems likely after the controversy surrounding their first fight. An official announcement is expected in the coming weeks, with reports suggesting the fight could happen in May or June. Meanwhile, the New York State Athletic Commission has upheld the fight's result, a majority draw, despite the disputed 9th round moment. According to a ruling obtained by ESPN on Friday, 2 judges scored the fight 114-114, while a third had it 115-113 for Davis. The commission denied Roach's protest, stating that since the fight continued for more than 3 rounds after the no-knockdown call, both fighters had to adjust to the referee's ruling, meaning the decision did not directly determine the outcome.
That kind of big-eyed look. You've definitely seen him. He's a veteran of the fight game. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I'm not suggesting he was in on it. But there was certainly a fumbling in this particular case, because he very briefly starts to count when the knee hits the canvas. Then when Tank goes to the corner and gets his face wiped off, he's like, what's going on? We can't show it because it's PBC, but by now you've probably seen it all over social media.
Gervonta Davis, one of boxing's biggest stars, took a knee in the 9th round after a series of punches from Lamont Roach. Referee Steve Willis began counting but stopped at 3 and didn't rule it a knockdown. In its ruling, the commission stated that after reviewing the footage, the correct call would have been to declare a knockdown since Davis's knee touched the canvas. However, they also noted that the final decision was up to the referee. The ruling explained that if a knockdown had been called, it's unclear whether the final 3 rounds would have played out the same way. Because of this uncertainty, the commission decided that changing the outcome retroactively wouldn't be in the best interest of boxing. Had Willis called the knockdown, Roach would have won by decision. Instead, the WBA junior lightweight champion had to settle for a draw in his attempt to become a 2-division title holder in what would have been a major upset. Davis was a heavy favorite at -2,000 odds, according to ESPN Bet. Roach and his team remain disappointed by the commission's ruling but appreciate the support from boxing fans. His attorney, Gregory M. Smith, told ESPN, "Lamont is confident that a rematch will end in victory. But until then, He's the people's champion at 135 pounds.
You've probably seen it all over social media. And then he stops counting and the fight resumes. That should have been a 10-8 round for Lamont Roach. Or if you scored that a 10-9, then it's a 9-9. Point being, the fight ends in a majority draw. If you look at the scorecards, there they are. You got a 114-114. You got another 114-114.
After the fight, Baltimore's Gervonta Davis explained that he took a knee because grease from a hair treatment on Thursday burned his eyes. Davis was also allowed to have his corner wipe his eyes with a towel during the round, which is normally not allowed. Only the referee has the authority to stop the action. Davis's ring IQ is often underrated. He has shown the ability to study his opponents in the early rounds before making adjustments. However, against Roach, he never seemed to find his rhythm. Roach gained plenty of support after the fight, including from Shakur Stevenson, Davis's rival, who praised Roach's performance and even offered to fight him next. While that fight could happen, the rematch with Davis is what fans want most. Roach made people question whether Davis is truly unbeatable, and that's why a second fight feels necessary.
I know something funny. When we was talking in like the 12th round, I think the 12th or 11th, we was talking shit, right? But he like, you ain't gonna win.
Lamont Roach, a former amateur rival of Gervonta Davis, deserved to be the main story after giving Tank, the minus 1,600 betting favorite, the first blemish of his professional career. Their controversial majority draw at Barclays Center left many questioning the result. On Monday, the commission revealed that they had requested a video replay review, but a technical issue prevented it from happening in time. Roach, 29, remains the WBA title holder at 130 pounds and is ranked No. 6 at lightweight by ESPN. Davis, 30, is currently ESPN's No. 1 lightweight and No. 8-pound 4-pound boxer. The highly anticipated rematch between Davis and Roach has the boxing world buzzing. Among those weighing in is Ryan Garcia, who has first-hand experience with Davis. Garcia, who lost to Davis by 7th-round TKO in April 2023, is closely following the situation and has shared his thoughts on the outcome.
I don't like knockouts, I like punishment, you know what I'm saying? And then sometimes things gotta happen to make you get back to where you belong at, you know what I'm saying? And that was a good, skillful.
For Gervonta Davis, it was supposed to be just another routine night in the ring. From the moment his fight with Lamont Roach was announced, Team Davis showed no signs of worry. Roach was a familiar opponent with a solid record, but despite holding a title, he was seen as the smaller man and not a serious threat to Davis.
To a split decision win for Lamont Roach. He was robbed. The knee hitting the canvas should be a knockdown. The face getting wiped should be a DQ. They didn't use replay apparently, and we're going to talk to Keith Idec about all this, but there is replay in New York, and a fight that was kind of viewed as an afterthought would now be a gigantic rematch and one of the biggest upsets of the past, 10, 15 years, 16-1 is gigantic.
Seen as a big underdog, Lamont Roach fought like a man on a mission. From the opening bell, he boxed beautifully from the outside. Even when Davis forced him into an inside fight, Roach adapted without hesitation. By the time the final bell rang, the crowd at Brooklyn's Barclays Center was left in shock. They had witnessed 36 minutes of all-out action but had no clear idea who would get the win. As the judges' scores were being counted, Team Davis waited confidently, but their smiles quickly faded when the result was announced, a majority decision draw, leaving Davis without the expected victory.
It's like skillful. Both of them want to take certain chances, some of them take chances, you know what I'm saying? It was like we was on a boat and it was just like this.
For the first time in his professional career, Gervonta Davis left the ring without an official win. As he sat backstage, his team, including Barry Hunter, shook their heads in disappointment at the decision. The first fight between Davis and Roach in March was a closely contested battle that sparked heated debate over the judges' scoring. Now, with a rematch on the horizon, Ryan Garcia has added to the excitement by sharing his prediction for the outcome. Their first meeting was anything but an easy night for Davis. Roach proved to be a tough challenger, pushing him through all 12 rounds and making every moment competitive. One of the most controversial moments came in the 9th round when Davis voluntarily took a knee, yet the referee chose not to give him a count, further fueling the post-fight controversy.
114. And in the middle, you got a 115, 113. Had they scored that round, or scored the knockdown, I should say, all of a sudden that 114, 114 is 114, 113 for Lamont Roach. All of a sudden that second one, Steve Weisfeld, one of the best judges in the sport, is another 114, 113. And all of a sudden that middle one is a 113, 114. But all of a sudden now you're going to from a majority draw to a split decision win.
The judge's decision, 1 card in favor of Davis and 2 scoring it a draw, reflected just how close the fight was. However, the failure to score the 9th round 10-8 for Roach may have cost him the chance to become the new WBA lightweight champion. Now, with the rematch set for this summer, expectations are high. In an interview with ES News, Ryan Garcia shared his thoughts on the rematch. "I got Tank. I think he'll put on a different gear. I think he just thought it would be easier than it was and thought Roach would fold, but he didn't. Now we should expect a harder fight, and I think he wins the rematch." Garcia's insight, based on his own experience fighting Davis, adds more intrigue to the rematch. He believes Davis underestimated Roach the first time and will come back with more focus and intensity. Barry Hunter, who stepped into a bigger coaching role ahead of Calvin Ford, strongly disagrees with the judges. He acknowledged that Davis had his hands full but is convinced that in the final rounds, Davis turned a close, back-and-forth fight into a clear victory.
Yeah, you got to give him credit. So.
Hey guys, this is Will. Now what? It is what it is. Going back home, who's going to have the brag?
You have to give credit where it's due. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Now, as both fighters head home, the question remains, who really has the bragging rights? Many believe Davis should have lost the decision, arguing that referee Steve Willis should have ruled his 9th round knee as a knockdown. Since the fight, Davis has faced heavy criticism from the boxing community, with many questioning the officiating. Both Davis and Roach have expressed interest in a rematch, and the New York State Athletic Commission is now reviewing the controversial 9th round moment. A replay system failure prevented the incident from being officially reviewed at the time, adding to the ongoing debate about the fight's outcome.
I just so happen to be a boxing fan that the fact that I do watch him fight, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really like boxing.
Are you open to immediate rematch?
In my contract, immediate rematch was signed. I signed for the immediate rematch when I signed for the first fight.
Right.
Just in case he lost or just in case it was a draw.
So when you got a rematch clause, how long will you take it?
It's up to the A side and when they want to fight. So I'm thinking it's going to be soon. I'm hoping it's going to be soon. Let's say that.
What is soon to you? When you say soon to me, I'm thinking a month.
I'm thinking July.
I'm thinking July for sure.
Ryan Garcia's prediction for the rematch between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach has sparked heated debate among boxing fans. With anticipation at an all-time high, Garcia's perspective, shaped by his own experience against Davis, adds even more intrigue to the fight. The big question remains, will Davis assert his dominance this time, or will Roach redeem himself and take the title? The rematch is set to be an intense and closely watched showdown. If Davis had been ruled down in the 9th round, Roach would have won by majority decision and become a 2-division world champion. Instead, Davis kept his title and his undefeated record, setting the stage for an even bigger fight the second time around.
Tank want a rematch. Let me know now. Do you want to fight Tank again? He said he open to do a rematch. Do you want to fight Tank
100%.
again?
It's only a matter of time. We're gonna fight. We're gonna fight again. It's just whenever the fight gonna happen.
So it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
Okay. They say they want it in New York again. Do you want to fight again in the Barclays Center?
I wouldn't mind, but I'd love for it to be in DC.
Okay.
I'd love for it to be in DC.
Throughout his career, Gervonta Davis has relied on his athleticism, patience, and punching power to dominate his opponents. But on Saturday, he faced an opponent who wasn't intimidated and took his best shots without serious trouble. While Davis still commands respect for his skills, Roach's performance exposed areas where opponents might be able to challenge the WBA champion. Before this fight, the only other boxer to go the distance with Davis was Isaac "Pitbull" Cruz. Now, all eyes are on Davis's next move. Will he push for an immediate rematch? If the second fight happens, the key questions will be, can Roach maintain his confidence without losing discipline? And can Davis adjust his style if needed? That's all for now. For the latest boxing news, updates, and analysis, stay connected by subscribing to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss our top quality content.